What if I told you there are plants growing quietly around the world that can feed your body with serious protein, and some of them can keep feeding you year after year? Not from a factory, not from a lab, straight from the soil. My name is Zion. I'm 55 years old, and after many years watching how people eat, grow, heal, and forget the old ways, I learned something simple. Nature was feeding us long before the supermarket existed. And today, I want to show you 10 powerful plants that can give your body strong nourishment, deep energy, and real food security. Some of them have more protein than people expect. Some can rival meat when dried, and some of them you plant once and they keep giving back for years. Stay with me until the end, because number 3 is a plant most home gardeners have never heard of. And number 1, that one was used by the ancient Maya, grows like a living gift and may completely change the way you look at leafy greens. Before we begin, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and walk with me. Here we talk about plants, food, old wisdom, and the simple things the modern world forgot. Let's begin. Number 10. Moringa, the tree that almost begs you to eat it. If you ever talk to people who grow food in warm places, sooner or later you hear about moringa. Some call it the miracle tree. Some call it a superfood. I just call it one of those plants that reminds you how generous nature can be. The leaves are soft, green, earthy, and powerful. You can eat them fresh, cook them into soups, or dry them and turn them into powder. And when moringa is dried, the protein becomes concentrated. That is why so many people compare moringa powder with animal foods when talking about nutrition. But what makes moringa special is not only protein. It has amino acids, minerals, vitamins, and a kind of strength that ancient farmers understood very well. In parts of Africa and South Asia, families have grown moringa for generations. Not because it was trendy, not because it had a fancy label, because it worked. To grow moringa, give it sun. Give it soil that drains well. Do not drown it with water. This tree likes heat, light, and space, but even if you do not have a big yard, you can prune it and keep it like a shrub. That is one thing I love about moringa. You cut it and it comes back. You harvest it and it grows again. It teaches patience, but it also teaches abundance. And here is something many people do not know. Moringa seeds have been used to help clean dirty water. Crushed seeds can help particles clump and sink. That means this tree does not only feed, it can also help purify. Now tell me in the comments, would you grow moringa if you had only a small yard? Because if this plant already surprised you, wait until you hear number 9. Number 9, lentils, the humble seed that deserves more respect. Most people see lentils sitting in the back of the pantry and think that is just emergency food. But I see something different. I see one of the oldest, simplest, strongest foods human beings ever learned to grow. In India, in Ethiopia, in the Middle East, in old kitchens all over the world, lentils have fed families through hard times. Not fancy food, faithful food. Lentils are rich in plant protein, fiber, minerals, and slow energy. When dried, they carry a strong amount of protein by weight. And unlike many modern foods, they do not just fill the stomach. They sustain the body. They help you feel full. They help the soil. They help the next crop. That is because lentils are legumes. They can fix nitrogen in the soil, which means they give something back to the earth while they grow. That is old wisdom right there. Modern people take from the land and give nothing back. Lentils do the opposite. To grow lentils, plant them in cooler weather. They like light, well-drained soil. Put the seeds directly into the ground, not too deep, and let them grow with simple care. They do not need much water once they are established. When the pods dry and rattle, it is time to harvest. And here is a tip from Zion. Plant lentils before heavy feeders like corn or squash. The soil will be better because the lentils were there first. That is how nature builds systems, not one plant alone. A relationship. So tell me, have you ever grown lentils yourself, or have you only bought them from the store? Drop it in the comments and stay with me because number 8 is one of those plants that rewards patient people. Number 8, asparagus, the plant that can feed you for 20 years. There is something beautiful about asparagus. When those green spears push through the soil in early spring, it feels like the garden is waking up and saying, the cold season is over. Asparagus is not the highest protein plant on this list, but that is not the whole story. The power of asparagus is time. You plant it once, and if you take care of it, it can keep producing every spring for many years, sometimes close to 20 years. Think about that. Most food today is built for one use, one season, one purchase. But asparagus is different. It says, "Plant me with patience and I will keep coming back." It has fiber, nutrients, and natural compounds that support the body in quiet ways. The ancient Egyptians grew asparagus. The Romans valued it highly. This plant has been respected for a long time. To grow it, plant asparagus crowns in early spring. Give them deep, rich, well-drained soil. Dig a trench, place the crowns carefully, and cover them little by little as they grow. But listen closely. Do not harvest too early. The first couple of years, let the plant build its roots. I know that is hard. People today want everything now, but the garden does not work like that. The garden teaches you to wait. After the plant is established, you can harvest the spears when they are tall enough, and then let the ferns grow after the season. Those ferns feed energy back into the roots. So here is my question for you. Would you wait 2 years for a harvest that could last 20? Tell me below, because number 7 is one that many people only know from restaurants, but it belongs in the garden. Number 7, edamame. Young soybeans loaded with complete protein. You may have eaten edamame in a restaurant before. Bright green pods, a little salt, warm steam, simple and satisfying. But many people do not realize this is not just a snack. Edamame is young soybean, and soybean has been grown in East Asia for thousands of years. It is one of the rare plant foods that can offer complete protein, meaning it has all essential amino acids. That is why soy has fed so many people across history. Edamame gives protein, fiber, minerals, and a kind of clean fullness that makes you feel satisfied without feeling heavy. To grow edamame, wait until after the last frost. It likes full sun and rich soil with compost. Plant the seeds directly in the ground. Keep moisture steady when the pods begin to fill. When the pods are plump and bright green, that is the time. Do not wait too long because you want them tender. Steam the whole pods, sprinkle a little salt, and eat the beans from the shell. Simple food, real food. And here is something I love. Kids often like edamame because it feels like a snack, but it feeds like a meal. Now tell me, would you grow edamame in your garden, or would you rather keep buying it frozen? Comment below. And if you are still watching, thank you. That tells me you are someone who wants more than just entertainment. You want knowledge you can use. Hit the like button now because it helps this video reach more people who need to remember what real food looks like. Now let's keep going because number 6 is powerful. Number 6, quinoa, the grain that is not really a grain. Quinoa became famous in health stores, but it is not new. Long before modern people put it in expensive packages, the people of the Andes were growing it high in the mountains. The Incas called it the mother of all grains. But quinoa is technically not a true grain. It is a seed. And that seed is special because it offers complete protein with all essential amino acids. That is not common in the plant world. Quinoa has protein, minerals, fiber, and slow-burning energy. It works in bowls, soups, salads, porridges, and many simple meals. Even space researchers have looked at quinoa because of how nutritionally complete it is. But to me, the most beautiful part is this. Quinoa grows where many other crops struggle. High places, tough soil, harsh conditions, that tells you something about the plant. To grow quinoa, give it full sun and well-drained soil. Do not overfeed it. Too much fertilizer can make it grow wrong. Sow the seeds shallow and thin the seedlings so they have room. When the seed heads dry and the seeds come off easily, it is time to harvest. But remember this, rinse quinoa well before eating. It has a natural bitter coating called saponin. And here is a bonus. The young leaves are edible too. You can use them like spinach early in the season. So you are not only waiting for the seed, the plant gives along the way. Have you ever tried growing quinoa, or did you think it was too exotic for a backyard? Drop your answer below, because number 5 is one most people have never seen, but every gardener should know. Number 5, winged beans, the plant where almost everything is edible. If you never heard of winged beans, do not feel bad. That is exactly why I talk about forgotten plants. In Southeast Asia and places like Papua New Guinea and the Philippines, winged beans have been known as a kind of supermarket on a stalk. Why? Because you can eat the pods, the leaves, the flowers, and even the roots. That is rare. Most plants give you one main harvest. Winged bean gives you many. And the seeds are very rich in protein when dried, sometimes compared with soybeans because of how dense they are. This plant is not only food, it is efficiency. It climbs, it grows, it feeds. To grow winged beans, you need warmth, humidity, full sun, and something for the vines to climb. Give it a trellis or a fence, plant the seeds after frost, and water regularly. Harvest the young pods while they are tender, and let some mature if you want to save seeds. Now here is the part that makes me smile. The roots can be eaten too. They have a sweet nutty flavor, almost like a root vegetable. That means one plant can give leaves, flowers, pods, seeds, and roots. That is not normal supermarket thinking. That is survival thinking. That is old world intelligence. Would you grow a plant if you knew you could eat almost every part of it? Tell me in the comments, and stay close because number 4 carries a long history and it is misunderstood by many people. Number 4, hemp seeds, ancient warrior fuel. Now listen carefully because when I say hemp, some people immediately think about the wrong thing. I am talking about hemp seeds as food, and hemp seeds are one of the most complete foods nature gives. They have a mild, nutty flavor. You can sprinkle them over salads, blend them into smoothies, stir them into porridge, or press them into oil. But hemp is not new. Ancient cultures used hemp for food, fiber, rope, medicine, and survival. Some old Chinese writings treated hemp as one of the important grains. So seeds carry strong protein, healthy fats, and a balance of omega fatty acids that makes them special. That is why hemp seeds have been respected for so long. They are small but dense. Like many ancient foods, they do not need to be loud to be powerful. To grow hemp where it is legal, it needs full sun, deep soil, and space. It grows fast, sometimes very fast, and it can help break up compacted soil with its roots. That makes it useful not just for food, but for the land, and that is something I always respect in a plant, when it feeds the person and improves the ground. But always remember, laws are different depending on where you live, so check what is allowed in your area before growing hemp. Now tell me honestly, would you grow hemp seeds as a food crop if it was allowed where you live? Drop your thoughts below. Because number 3 is the one I promised you at the beginning, the ancient desert protein most gardeners have never heard of. Number 3, tepary beans, the desert survivor. Imagine a bean so tough it can grow with less water than almost any crop you know. That is tepary bean. Small, dense, earthy, and powerful. This bean was cultivated by indigenous peoples of the Sonoran Desert in what is now Arizona and Mexico for thousands of years, and that alone tells you something. If a crop survives in the desert, it is not weak. Tepary beans can handle heat, they can handle dry soil, they can produce where other beans give up. They are rich in protein, lower on the glycemic side than many legumes, and deeply connected to food traditions that modern agriculture almost ignored. That makes me sad, but it also gives us a chance. Because forgotten does not mean gone. To grow tepary beans, give them full sun and very well-drained soil. Do not spoil them with too much water. These beans like dry feet. Plant them in warm weather, directly in the soil. They mature quickly, often in about 2 to 3 months. Harvest when the pods are dry and papery. And here is an important tip. Save seeds from your strongest plants. Every season, they can adapt better to your own garden. That is one of the miracles of seed saving. The seed remembers. Now I have to ask you, had you ever heard of tepary beans before today? If this is your first time, comment, new to me. Because number 2 can feed for decades from a single cutting. Number 2, tree collards, the leafy green that does not quit. Tree collards look like something from another time. Tall, leafy, strong, sometimes with purple tones, sometimes growing for years and years. In some places, people have plants that are decades old, still producing leaves, still feeding families. That is the kind of plant I respect. Tree collards are not about one harvest. They are about relationship. You plant a cutting, care for it, harvest the outer leaves, and it keeps producing. The leaves bring protein for a green, along with minerals and fiber. But the real power is the long-term yield. A plant that gives every year is different from a plant that gives once. In mild climates, tree collards can become a living food source. To grow them, use cuttings instead of seeds. They often do better that way. Give them sun or partial shade, rich soil, and steady water during dry times. Harvest the outside leaves and let the center keep growing. And here is a beautiful thing. After a light frost, the flavor can become sweeter. The cold changes the plant. Isn't that something? Even hardship can bring sweetness. Now tell me, would you grow a plant that could help feed your family for years from one cutting? I think I already know the answer. And now we arrive at number 1. The plant that makes me wonder why more people are not growing it. Number 1. Chaya, the Mayan spinach. Chaya is one of the most underappreciated food plants in the world. Some call it tree spinach. It grows like a leafy shrub in warm climates. It asks for little. It gives a lot. The ancient Maya used chaya as an important food source for generations. And when you look at the leaves, you understand why. Chaya is rich in protein for a leafy green and also full of minerals like calcium and iron, along with vitamin C. It can grow fast. It can be propagated from cuttings, and once it is established, you can keep harvesting leaves again and again. That is the kind of plant communities need. A neighbor can share a cutting with another neighbor. Then that person grows it and shares again. One plant becomes 10, 10 become 100. That is how food security used to spread, not through ads, through hands. But listen carefully, chaya must be cooked before eating. Do not eat the raw leaves. Boil or sauté them for at least several minutes so the natural compounds break down safely. This is important. Old wisdom includes respect. You do not just eat any plant any way you want. You learn how to prepare it. To grow chaya, give it warmth, sun, fertile soil, and good drainage. Plant a cutting, let it root, and in a few months you may have a strong leafy shrub. Harvest the outer leaves and the plant keeps giving. That is why I call chaya a gift plant. Now tell me, had you ever heard of chaya before today? If not, you are now part of a smaller group of people who know something powerful that most gardeners still do not know. Comment below. Would you try to find a chaya cutting? Now let's do a quick recap. We talked about moringa, the miracle tree that can become powerful green powder. Lentils, the humble protein seed that also feeds the soil. Asparagus, the patient plant that can give for 20 years. Edamame, the young soybean with complete protein. Quinoa, the ancient Andean seed with complete amino acids. Winged beans, the plant where almost everything is edible. Hemp seeds, ancient food with strong protein and healthy fats. Tepary beans, the desert survivor with deep indigenous history. Tree collards, the perennial green that can feed for decades. And chaya, the Mayan spinach hiding in plain sight. Together, these plants teach us something powerful. Food security does not have to depend only on meat, expensive groceries, or industrial systems. With the right plants, a backyard can become a living pantry. A garden can become strength. A seed can become freedom. Every one of these plants survived because someone cared enough to save a seed, share a cutting, teach a child, or keep old knowledge alive. That is one of the most generous things a human being can do. If this video helped you discover even one plant you want to grow, then this was worth it. So leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who wants to grow more of their own food. And now I want to hear from you. Which plant surprised you the most? Moringa, tepary beans, tree collards, chaya. Write it in the comments below. I'm Zion, and I believe the earth still has more abundance than most people remember. Sometimes the food we are looking for is already waiting in the soil. I'll see you in the next video.